football team is coming off an impressive 42-7 win over Idaho, but the big news from that game was junior quarterback Riley Nelson going down with an injury. I'm Jared Lloyd, Daily Herald sports editor, here with Jason Franchuk, BYU football columnist for the Daily Herald. Jason, they talked about it today at the press conference. Riley's injury, a couple of cracked ribs. Turned out that it actually happened an earlier play than they originally thought. It was when he actually got hurt. What does this mean for BYU going forward as they prepare for this week?
Yeah, Jared, we were writing stories that we couldn't talk to players or coaches before deadlines were approaching there with that late kickoff and everything, but we kind of had the hunch that there was one play earlier when Riley almost threw an interception and he got cracked pretty good, and it turns out that that's when he was hurt, probably first. We know he has a high pain threshold, but now this story is multi-layered in how interesting it is. First, Riley isn't going to play this week, so you bring in Jake Heaps. Have they reopened the quarterback battle? Bronco says no. Bronco says, assuming it's this season that Riley comes back, that he will reinsert himself into the starting spot. Now, where that's interesting, as Bronco mentioned, was they go to Hawaii for their next game. They have a bye week, then they go to Hawaii December 3rd. He may not be able to go to that game. It's a 4-week healing period, and then when you factor in the air travel and a lung injury, doctors have already told Bronco Riley may not be able to travel to that. So this situation with Riley and Riley Nelson and Jake Heaps has found another way to become interesting. It's not just on the field, it's now in the doctor's office with how it's going right now.
You know, it's the big news this week. BYU preparing to take on New Mexico State, the final home game of the year at LaVell Edwards Stadium. The general consensus from BYU fans is it doesn't matter who plays quarterback. I read somebody that wrote somewhere that if they put J.J. DeLuigi in a quarterback, they'd still beat New Mexico State. Is that accurate? Are the Aggies good enough to test BYU in your mind?
I wrote that, hey, you or I could have gone in there. I could bring back the old gun. You know, I could throw that ball over that mountain that's behind Rich Teasdale there. But, you know, I think what's going to be interesting is they're finally clicking. I think one thing, Jared, that nobody's talking about enough and giving enough credit to, I think Brandon Doman is getting a lot more comfortable with running this offense, not just being a quarterback's coach, but having total control of the offense. And I think he gets along well with Riley Nelson, just like he has, we've talked about in the past with Jake Heaps. I think he's just a pretty easygoing guy, not easy to play for as far as lackadaisical, but I think he knows how to get the most out of people. So they've got the offensive line clicking. Michael Lisa continues to play well, not going to sing it, and they're going forward, not playing a great team, but New Mexico State should offer a better challenge than what Idaho did on Saturday.
New Mexico State has had some close games. Dwayne Walker, their coach, is doing a good job down there. It might be a little more interesting than BYU fans want it to be, at least for a little while. I think BYU's the better team, but we'll wait and see on Saturday how the Cougars come out and perform against the Aggies.